Hi, it's Matt Williams from the Gloucester Community Building Collective and Richard Holmes. Hi, Rich.
Hi there, Matt. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Just wanted to just catch up informally. You're our current executive director at the moment for the collective. Um, Sadly, though, you're moving on, but I just wanted to have a chat with you around the role because it's something we put out to post, and we're just wanting people to know a little bit more about what the collective does across Gloucester, but also if anybody's thinking about applying, we hopefully this just a little chat can inform people a little bit. Does that sound okay?
Sounds like a plan.
I won't grill you too hard.
I'm ready to be grilled by you, Matt. So fire away with the questions.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Why don't you give us a bit of background of how the collective, the CIC, has come about?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, going back maybe about 3 years ago, we did a test and learn pilot in Gloucester, working with the Constabulary and Barnwood Trust, which is a disability and mental health foundation, in partnership with Gloucester City Council. We started to experiment really in using community building as a place-based approach to engage people and excite them and help them take ownership of things that happen where they live. And unlike a lot of perhaps other work that we're used to in the social sector, the approach that we took was around ABCD, which is around mobilising resident-to-resident support. Okay. So it's really about building the capacity in the community and helping people to take action on the things that they love where they live.
Okay, so ABCD, it's as simple as ABCD, isn't it? Is that what you're saying?
That's pretty bad.
No. Okay, but the good thing about that, it's strength-based, it's resident-led, it's like you said, it's people, not people power in the sense of a movement, but actually people to be encouraged and what confidence built to actually they can do stuff in and around where they live. Yeah, is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. Everyone in our community has strengths. They all have gifts, and this organisation has been here to try and uncover those gifts and have a different sort of conversation with people that isn't about what's wrong about the place where they live, but really what's strong, what's working, and what could you build on. And we're looking for a new executive director who can help hold those principles and really help communities to build relationships before they're needed. And I guess, COVID-19 has shown us how important it is to have the relationships with the people in our street, because they're often the first responders. When things go wrong, it's our neighbours who will be there to help us out first. And we really need to keep building up that community capacity.
And what have you been encouraged by? Obviously, it has been a difficult season for many people. What have you been encouraged by across Gloucester, obviously wider as well, across Gloucestershire, but the UK, the world, but particularly Gloucester with our focus with the collective? What have you been encouraged about in this last year?
I think it's all the small things that probably most excite me. And there was a brilliant example of people in Kingsholm in Gloucester who have been doing just small acts of kindness to keep people connected, whether it's about mobilising the children in the community to paint rocks and to create a rock snake, or I saw on Facebook someone had been painting wooden pegs, clothing pegs with little messages on them, pinning them around the community. Those small acts that we take as citizens make a massive difference to how we feel about the place where we live. And if we all took small acts, if we all did it, our communities will transform and people will start caring for the place where they live and the people who live in that place.
Yeah, and I think, like you said, I think during this time, you've seen the people have got a heart for each other. And before COVID, everybody's busy. There's always an excuse we're too busy doing stuff. But what we've seen is people are being creative, sort of energetic and enthused about actually I can do this, and I might have a little gift, but actually that gift is perfect for that neighbour next door who maybe has not chatted to anyone, who's been isolating. So yeah, I think what you've said there, Richard, hits the nail on the head. Everybody's got something to contribute, whether it's doing the pegs, doing the rocks, being creative, or even just knocking on, checking on next door within safely, texting someone, phoning someone. And I think, yeah, and have you been proud of being part of that? Because obviously you've been part of working across the city, haven't you? And actually you've seen people working together, which maybe they would have never done in the past.
Yeah, I think any crisis brings people together and forces us to collaborate in new and interesting ways. And I think we've seen that in Gloucester, and no doubt we've seen it in other communities across the country. But in particular in this city, I think we've just seen such a strong sense of we're in this together. Whatever happens, we will be here for each other. And that for me is so important and inspiring in many ways.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, for the new executive director who comes into this role, it's holding those principles and those values about not doing for people, but building up the capacity so people learn to do with each other, or the community has so much capacity and so many strengths that we as paid professionals aren't needed, so we can get out the way. That's a really difficult tension for anyone in a leadership role, because traditionally what we're really great at is running a program that essentially kind of helps and fixes people's lives. The approach that the Community Building Collective is using is slightly different in that it's trying to help people create interdependency with each other, so that you don't need organisations because you turn to your neighbours first. And that's not discrediting the role of organisations, because there are points of crisis when we are needed. We are there for those that are the most vulnerable. But there's something else that we can add even more value when neighbours sort of build up their civic muscle, if you like, and say, look, we're going to help each other out. And I think as we come into a post-COVID society, we will need that even more than we've needed it recently.
Yeah, and I suppose I'll just quickly ask, obviously people can, at the end, I'll give people details of where to look for the advert, get to know a bit about the collective as well. You've obviously started off with the grassroots with Anna and some of the others who've sort of pioneered, because it's quite a challenge, isn't it? It's shifting sort of ways people have worked sort of in the past, and it's trying to give a bit of control and power back to residents. What would you say then? You've already mentioned it. What's maybe some of the challenges and opportunities that the next person, you've laid a great foundation, ready for this next phase of the CIC? What would you say to that person who's maybe up for the challenge? What would be some of the challenges but opportunities in this next phase?
I think the thing to be aware of is this work is really radical and innovative, and that makes it incredibly exciting, but it does mean that you're probably ahead of the curve. So one of the challenges there is working with investors and funders to help them see the benefit of resident-led change. That's not always easy to attract investment in. So you need to be really good at thinking about how you're going to build relationships with those innovative funders, maintain those relationships, and think really carefully about how do you demonstrate impact when you're not doing direct service delivery, but really building up the capacity of others and acting as a catalyst for social change.
Yeah, and I think I was going to mention Ice Cream then, Raspberry Ripple, but what I meant was, obviously with the collective and others across Gloucester now, we're using a different kind of form of valuation. Obviously today's not the day to go into it, but there's a bit on our Facebook page from last year when we talk about ripple effect, but something like that is very useful, isn't it, Rich, for funders, for people to see evidence rather than the usual KPIs and bums on seats, would you say?
Yeah, I think when you're building up the capacity of the community, people will build their own muscle. They will go out and do things that you as a paid professional might not be connected with, yet you've acted as a catalyst in the first place. So I think that there's a challenge in here for the organisation to keep thinking about that evaluation approach, thinking about how you assess impact and how you communicate that impact then back with new investors. There is other blogs that we've written about ripple effect, as you said, Matt. They're on our website, so do take a look in the blog section and find out a little bit more. Okay,
well, we're just coming up to the end here, and obviously you, I think, finished towards the end of April, very end of April. The advert's applying till the 6th of April, I think, so people can look at that. What would be your last kind of final thoughts for somebody who's looking, maybe thinking, am I up for this task? Or maybe they're lacking in confidence, but they can see the job spec, see what some of the things. What would you say to anybody out there who's maybe having a look at it?
I think this organisation is really special. It's trying to do something that is incredibly unique. So if you're someone that likes being at the forefront of social change, if you're someone that's innovative, you want to try practicing new things, and you don't mind getting involved in test and learn projects, and you can offer a compelling future about how life could be in our communities, and helping people to think about the sort of place they want to grow up in, or the sort of place they want to grow old in. If you think you can do that, then do get in touch with us. I mean, I'm happy to have informal conversations with anyone that's interested in the role. You can contact me at rich@glosscommunitybuilding.co.uk, and happy to arrange a video call like this and just talk through where you're at and why you might be interested in this role. But the full details about the application can be found on our website.
Brilliant, excellent. And just to finish, you've got a lovely bunch of people you work with as well, haven't you? We're not too difficult to work with, are we, Rich?
No. Sorry, you're absolutely lovely. No, the team are brilliant.
But actually, it is a good team, isn't it? There's a nice diverse mix.
There is. Yeah, the team are great. They really support each other really well, and that they too are at the forefront of this change, and they need someone brilliant who can help support them through that.
It's exciting times, isn't it? It's exciting times. We've got new board members come on board. We've got hopefully a new person coming in post. So yeah, we want to thank you, Rich, for all that you've done just to help with this startup, because it's been tough, it's been hard work, but actually you've created that passion and energy across the city that's already been there. But just to teach people, actually, come on, most people can do this. It's just being kind, looking out for others, and believing and knowing, giving confidence. So thanks, Rich, for all you've done. If people want to know the details, like you said, look in our Gloucester community building website details, and we'll leave it there and get applying.
Thanks, Matt.
All right, see you, Rich.